Welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast. I'm your co-host Cicily.
I'm your host Hayden.
And it's the last movie of February.
Of your birthday month.
Guys, I'm 25 now. A lot has changed.
Was her birthday.
A lot has changed since we last spoke. I'm now 25.
I'm a different person.
My frontal lobe is developed. Alright, so today we're talking about Misery. Came out in 1990.
Yeah.
Rated R. Hour and 47 minutes. It got a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb. After a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realize that the care he is receiving is only the beginning of a nightmare of captivity and abuse.
And now read the question.
I see dead people. Name the movie. Answer: The Sixth Sense.
And Mom got that one right.
That's a good-ass movie.
It is a good-ass movie. Good job, Mom.
Good job, Stephanie.
Putting the answer on Facebook. She was very surprised that I haven't seen Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I was kind of surprised, too.
I love Rob Zombie, so that's why. But, like...
I feel like they like that movie. Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
I think
and
they
apparently
do.
she said that he did make a 2, but it was not good.
Oh. Weird.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
But, yeah, let's get into this movie. Good job on the question. Wait till the end for the next question. And let's start. It opens... The movie opens on him finishing his book where he kills Misery.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was really funny when he came out of the cabin and he threw the snowball at the tree and he still got it. I was like, what does that mean? I just thought that was funny. But it kind of gave us, in a way, what exactly his stake was. Like, what I mean is it kind of gave us like a little background information of what he was doing. He was clearly an accomplished writer at some level. Obviously, we didn't know what level yet, but it was to the point where he was at the same place every year, or every time he was finishing a book. And, the people knew him, and you could tell by the way he ended the book, and it was like, kind of like a mystery, sort of.
Uh-huh.
Because the ... question mark at the end of it. Because it said something like, well, what else is there, or something. But, it was very interesting, to see this sort of way that, I don't know, I'm not making it much sense right now, but it was sort of interesting to see like how the superstition sort of thing, like one cigarette with one match to light it, and then the glass of champagne, and he drives the same, what was it, 65 Mustang every time he finishes the book, and he goes to the same lodge every time and stuff. It was really cool to see kind of that side to a writer.
Are you superstitious?
Not really.
No.
Particularly.
I was superstitious when I played softball. So, come on. I was a player.
Yeah.
I was a team player. I would eat McDonald's chicken nuggets before, and I would have a Swedish fish in my mouth every time I went up to bat. I would eat it on my way up to bat.
Okay.
Every single time.
No, I'm not a very superstitious person. I more or less have like routines rather than superstition. Like I just do it the same way every time because that's just how I'm used to it. Rather than if I don't do it this way, I'm gonna die or something.
That was me. I was like, if I don't have a single Swedish fish in my mouth when I go up to bat, I will strike out. And I rarely did strike out. I think I don't know if I ever really did.
I don't really remember or you striking out all too often?
Maybe once.
I mean, you probably did.
Once every few games, maybe.
But the drive, once he starts going down the snowy mountain, in a way kind of reminds me of The Shining. And obviously that's another Stephen King book, so the vibes are probably similar.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of the car driving up the mountain.
Up to the hotel.
Obviously it was different music. It was like rock music or something for this movie, and then for The Shining it was very like kind of opera, like sort of suspenseful, thrilling kind of music. But it kind of reminded me, it had a similar vibe as The Shining to me.
Yeah,
but
the aesthetic was
the aesthetic. It was
pretty
just
similar.
The opposite way, like he was going down the mountain instead of up. But then he wrecks his car, which, in all honesty, you kind of should have seen coming.
Yeah.
You're driving
in
like a car in a snowstorm. Not even like a big, like a Cherokee or something like Annie drives later.
Yeah, and, like an old Mustang.
So then he crashes his car, and someone is trying to help him by getting him out of the car. And when we kind of see this by a random crowbar just being shoved into the door.
Yeah.
It was like, it's kind of like a suspenseful, like what's happening type thing. And then we kind of all find out at the exact same time, like us, Paul, or is his name Paul?
Paul Sheldon,
yeah. Paul and like Annie, I guess, too. We're all finding out at the same time exactly what happened to save him from the, car wreck. And it's kind of unsettling, this next part, because of just like how the line is said. It's the "I'm your number one fan." Kathy Bates in this movie was absolutely excellent, but the way she says "I'm your number one fan" is super unsettling.
It's so creepy.
And I love it. I'm glad that they got her to do it, because anyone else I don't think would have pulled it off quite as well.
She did a really good job of being creepy.
I didn't write it down, but Stephen King actually wrote a different role specifically for her after seeing her in this movie. It was like Claiborne or something. I forget what it was called, but she did that well in the movie that he wrote specifically a role. But the agent, Paul's agent, calls the sheriff because she thinks he's missing, which is a fair assessment because it's been a week, Yeah. And absolutely no one knows what the hell's going on. And I mean, she has a right to be worried, The daughter's worried. He never showed up, and it's not like him. And it's also weird that he just didn't call her after finishing the book and stuff. So, it's all kind of like coming together as strange, which is completely understandable. And then the sheriff is kind of investigating what's going on. He's driving with his wife out up the road, and realizes that the tree branch is broken, or the tree got broken from the car wreck, which is a pretty good, eyes, he had pretty good eyes to see that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like the wife said, it could have been because of the weight of the snow, or could have been 100 different things, but it also could have been the car wreck.
Yeah.
So, he's at least competent enough to at least want to check everything.
And he's keeping how do I say this?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I feel like he's the only one who was like super persistent, or just
he was the only one that really kept at it.
Yeah.
And I don't think necessarily that's because of who it was.
No.
I don't think it was just because it was him. He kind of seemed like if it would have been anyone that went missing, he would have at least tried for a good while before giving up. But also in the same sort of scene, we kind of see Annie's mask slipping.
Yeah.
She gets really angry at Paul, and you kind of see that she's, in a way, psycho.
Oh yeah,
She seemed nice and sincere, and like, oh, as soon as the phone lines are back up, we'll get this all sorted out, and we'll get you to the hospital and all this other stuff, blah blah blah. But then it kind of took a turn really fast, and I can't believe I looked at how far into the movie that this part was, where she was slipping.
Yeah.
It was 24 minutes.
Oh,
I
wow.
couldn't believe that it was 24 minutes. It felt like it was an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell a good a movie you're enjoying, when you're watching and it seems like you've been watching for a while.
Yeah.
Also, I guess not necessarily, because there are movies where I've hated and I'm just like, does this movie ever end?
Does this end?
But it feels like I've been reading an entire book at this point. Like,
Yeah, I got you.
I'm seeing an entire story fold out within 20 minutes, and it seems like it's a 2-hour story they told me already. But she calmed down. She said sorry. I just get a little overwhelmed, whatever. But then she said that she talked to the hospital and his agent, and the doctor said, as long as there's no infection, he'll be okay. As soon as the road's clear, we'll send an ambulance up to get him. So he has a little hope that it might not be too long. And it's been 2 weeks at this point since he's been missing.
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks, I think. And we'll get there later. But I think it was raining. Wasn't it raining when she talked about her husband?
I think so.
I think so. I can't remember, but she was talking about her husband and how he left her and how she felt, and she drove herself into her work, which I get, coming from a place of sympathy. It seems like he really felt bad for her.
Uh-huh.
But he was kind of like put off by her too. You know what I mean?
He was still trying to figure out what the hell's going on too.
Yeah, he didn't fully know what was going on, and it seems kind of weird that it's taking this long to clear a road of snow.
Yeah.
And for phone lines to be down this long. So it kind of seems like the stories aren't really lining up fully, not in his brain at least.
No, yeah.
But she finished the book and just starts to go absolutely crazy. The new book. She hated it, apparently. And
because Misery died.
Yeah, because he killed Misery. And from his point, he's written 8 books, this being his 9th book. Or 10th, maybe. Because I think the 9th one came out later in the movie.
Yeah.
So this would be his 10th book, just about Misery. And I get people love it, but you can't just write books and books and books and books forever dealing with the same character. It just gets drawn out, or just people stop to care after a while.
Exactly.
So he thought that it would go out with a bang, and killing the character that made him so famous, and give people kind of like, in a way, a sort of closure, if that makes any sense, because you can't see the character being alive for forever,
Yeah.
And yeah, he had a point. Back then, women died in childbirth all the time, so it wasn't totally far-fetched for her to die. But she did go crazy. She hated that Misery died. And didn't she hit him on the legs with paper?
Yeah, which...
I can't imagine the pain
No.
of that. But I think that's a little bit tiny. Yeah, it's a little further ahead. We got a little ahead of ourselves. But
Okay.
He's trying to get out of the bed. She leaves because she's so flustered, said, I can't be around you. So she leaves, and no idea where she went, but he tries to get out of the bed and the door's locked. So he's really starting to get creeped out by everything.
Yeah.
He's being locked in the room. He's being yelled at and called crazy and all this other stuff. She's turning into a psychopath, and he's starting to see it. I'm glad he's starting to see it because, I mean, he writes books so he can see, I assume, how stories are going to unfold later on.
Well, yeah.
He probably predicted this a while ago, what was going to happen. And the sheriff's looking for him, and it just shows after this long he has yet to give up, which is, you know, a good thing. It shows that, like you said, that he's persistent, and like I said, it seems like he wouldn't just give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's actually trying, and it's not just because of who he is.
It's because he actually gives a shit.
Right.
And I don't think they get much action out there, so...
Probably not.
I also think it gave him something to do.
Yeah, maybe. But still, either way.
Yeah.
And, she's trying to burn him and the book. She threatens to set him on fire. Starts putting the lighter fluid on his legs. But she forces him to burn the book that Misery dies in. Because she knows that's the only copy. The thing is, if he lives, you know, and he really wants her to die because he's done with Misery's story, he can just write another story when he gets out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. He might remember most of it, or he could forget anything. But he can write a second, different story where Misery still dies at the end. So,
and there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
So.
But it was also it showed her stalker psycho side when she was like, oh, I know you don't make copies because of this interview in this year, blah blah blah, said that you don't make copies. Okay, that's kind of weird. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot about, you know, famous people that I really like, but like I don't go into, you know, that much detail, like what hospitals they were born in, and like,
hell no. Like, I know Ariana Grande's birthday, but
yeah, and I'm sure you know a lot of information about her, but you don't know where she lives and like what her phone number is. Like, that's kind of like the vibe I got from her.
That's just creepy.
Yes. But yeah, so he's starting to get very suspicious at this point, and he starts hiding the drugs.
Good idea.
Very good idea. But then he cuts open the mattress even to shove them in the mattress so she doesn't find them, because
good idea.
That's also another good idea, yeah, because she probably would have seen them under the mattress rather than inside. But he starts writing. She forces him to start rewriting the book a different way. And she read the first, 40 pages, I forget what she said, and she said that she wants to rewrite because this is just stupid.
Yeah.
You can't just make up an experimental blood transfusion because she was buried or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Which later, she absolutely loves the idea that she was buried alive because she was in a coma because of a bee sting. That kind of seems like pandering to me. But anyway. She yells at him about the paper. So this superstitious guy, and you know that he's superstitious is the thing, because you know that he needed one cigarette, one match to light the cigarette with, one bottle of a certain type of champagne at the same lodge with the same vehicle and everything, you know? Like, you know that he's a superstitious person, but you're going to get mad at him because you didn't buy
the right
paper for him. You're going to get mad at him. So this is her brain unraveling once again, and even worse than before. It's kind of
pissed.
It's kind of showing the complexity of her character too.
Yeah.
Like how many different freaking layers there are.
Yeah, and then you wonder, you're like, what's wrong with this bitch? What is
I wondered
wrong
that
with
from the
this
beginning,
bitch?
where she yelled at him. What was it? Yelled at him about something. I forget what it was, but it just, this whole movie, she just keeps unraveling and her mask keeps slipping off that she's putting up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he gets out of the room for the first time finally, and he's looking around and he finds the drugs that she's been giving him and that he's quit taking. But he also knocks the penguin off the table, which becomes important later.
Yes, it does. and he tried to use the phone,
And it's fake. She gutted the phone.
Yeah.
What the heck?
He said, crazy bitch.
I mean, that is crazy. Who just has a gutted phone?
I know.
Did you expect him to, like, get out or something?
Probably.
I guess. I don't know. But she almost caught him, and if it wasn't for her dropping the paper on the step, she probably would have.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have given him enough time to unlock the door. Or to lock the door again, I mean. But, they found the car. His Mustang that went off the road.
Yep.
They found it, and they're assuming that he's dead. That he's buried under the snow, or animals got to him, or something. But the sheriff, once again, is not convinced because it's just weird that there's dents in the door.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, he was right. He may very well be dead. But the thing is,
what if he isn't?
why would there be dents like that in the door and then the door be reshut afterward, you know? So it was very intuitive, I guess, for him to kind of not give up on that fact.
To pick the right guy to be the sheriff.
That's right. She's trying to tell him how to write. She's like, no, this is dumb. You gotta do this, and you gotta do this. And it's like,
How many books did you write? Huh?
Yeah, but, like, you're trying to get the story to be the way that you want it instead of the way he wants it, because he's the writer. Regardless of you liking the book or not,
he's the writer.
He's the writer. It should be the story he wants to tell. But he tries to drug her with the wine and the pills and the wine thing, and she accidentally knocks it over, kind of foils that plan, and it kind of upsets him a little bit because he tried so hard to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's frustrating.
It is, yeah, it has to be.
I couldn't imagine being
like
in that situation.
It was all that work for nothing, pretty much. You know, got out of the room, almost caught, snatched the pills, put it in the little thing, and
the little packet.
Yeah, and she just knocked it over. And he took, like, the time to, like, make her walk away and grabbed it, dumped it in, and, like, shook it up, like, stirred it without...
Worked.
Yeah, that should have worked, but she knocked it over. But this is the moment where it was raining. She's acting extremely strange. She's, like, very depressed, and she's not really hiding it, per se. But she explained to him, like, when it rains, it makes me very sad, and went on this story about it. Kind of creeped him out even more because she pulled out a gun. She had a gun and said, I'm going to put 2 bullets in it. She said, I'm going to leave and hopefully I don't put any bullets in it or something. That's not a very...
He was like, oh, girl.
That's not a very comforting... thing to say there, lady. But he got out of the room again, found the photo album, and then hides the knife underneath the bed because she was about to walk in the bedroom but noticed something weird. That's probably why she walked away.
Yeah.
And that's probably where she noticed that he got out again. But he's caught. She tied him to the bed after, stabbing him. But he's caught, and she's like, I noticed that my penguin was facing a different way, and when people would be working in the mines, they would steal something, it would be a matter of, we need you to still work, but you can't
let
away.
Him leave. Yeah.
So the most iconic movie scene, one of the most iconic movie scenes, was with the sledgehammer, and she hobbles him by snapping his legs again.
Ugh.
Everyone has seen that scene before. As soon as you mention Misery, 99% of people that have seen it think of that scene. That's a great scene. It's a tough watch. It really is, getting your legs snapped like that. But yeah, that's a super iconic scene.
Yeah.
But the sheriff finally figures it out. And it was her getting mad at the intersection, almost hitting that guy, that made him think, like, oh, this is weird, you know, and goes and asks questions at the store, like, does she buy the books? And, you know, yeah, she came and bought paper and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, that's not weird at all, and left.
Yep.
He knew. He knew that she took him. He just needed, like, proof. Pretty much evidence that she did, and he couldn't really see anything in the house. But she drugs him and throws him in the basement. And not to mention the fact that he knocks the grill over and the sheriff hears it. That's what really saved him.
Yep.
But also killed the sheriff at the same time.
Poor
was
sheriff.
Yeah, I know. Poor sheriff.
I felt bad.
And
that
he runs back in, finds him down in the basement, and is like, "Hey, you know, I'm here or whatever." Shotgun straight through the chest. Such terrible timing. But
and he really fought for Paul, so it sucks that he had to die.
I know. It's rough.
Yeah.
But he convinces her not to kill him. Like, hey, the book's almost done. Let's just finish the book. You know,
let's just get this done.
Let's get this over with, and then you can kill us. Which was a pretty good plan, to be honest with you. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, he finishes the book, and then he has this plan to burn it, because this is the ending right here. And he burns the shit out of it. That was a pretty good scene where she just walked in, and he's holding the match, and he's like...
He's got the ending.
He's like, here's the ending. This is the answer to everything that you want to know. But I'm going to burn it because, I mean, it's not a real story anyway. It's not what he wanted. But it was kind of like to torture her at the same time.
Get her one more time. Hit her where it hurts.
But then he attacks her. Finally, he's making his escape, in a way. And, very suspenseful and kind of creepy scene, because she kept just coming after him and every time he hurt her, she came back. It was almost like a Michael Myers type deal. Every time he gets hurt, he just comes back. You can't stop him. And he finally, you know, trips her, and she smacks her head on the typewriter. And then, what was it, 18 weeks later, or 18 months later or something?
My question is, how did she not... She got right back up after getting hit in the head with the typewriter.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I would lay there, I'd probably die.
Yeah, but she was psycho enough that she wanted to keep him there forever. So, it's kind of just... It's like one of those mother lifts the car off her child type deals.
Insane will to live.
Yes. But it's like 18 months later, I think
I think so.
And he is talking to his agent about the new serious book that he wrote. And talking about how he should write a book on his experiences. And he says, oh, you want me to write a book about all the worst horror that I endured just to make a few bucks? He's like, you know, I still kind of see Annie. And he sees Annie.
Yeah. Walking towards him.
Which is understandable. He was tortured by her for weeks. I get it.
That'll fuck anybody up.
He's still fucked up. I get it. But that's the end of the movie. And I think it deserves an 8.5, not a 7.5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
8.5 or 9. I think it's very creepy.
This movie is incredible. It's one of the better Stephen King movies. Primarily because of James Caan and Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
They made the movie. And I couldn't truly see anyone else taking either role, because they did both amazing jobs. But yeah, let's get into these fear facts here. So James Caan actually showed up to set one day hungover, and all the scenes of that day were completely unusable.
Oh shit.
Because he was hungover. So the director made up an excuse like, hey, we have to reshoot these scenes because at the labs, the labs got messed up. Just to, not embarrass him or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he finds out that it was actually his fault, that the scenes were unusable.
Uh-huh.
He actually offered to pay the lost money back to them because of it being his fault.
That's nice.
I've never heard truly bad things about James Caan.
Neither have I, which is good because I feel like he's in a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard he's kind of like, secluded and like quiet, and he's not mean, but he's not exactly nice either. Yeah. He's kind of neutral. He's not overly nice and he's not overly mean.
We can get with that.
But this just kind of seems like the thing where it's like, okay, he's a nice dude.
Yeah.
To offer to pay out of his own pocket the shit that he messed up. So, Annie is actually Stephen King's favorite character he wrote because of the, kind of complexity of her.
Yeah.
He said that this was actually his favorite character that he wrote.
Interesting.
Or to write, rather. So Jack Nicholson actually passed on playing Paul.
Oh, wow.
Because of The Shining.
Really?
Because of what he endured on The Shining. Like how...
Yeah.
Like... What's the word?
They made him, like...
Yeah, it was like being tortured.
Yeah, they made him do a lot for that role.
And he was like, no, I don't think I can do another Stephen King movie because of how The Shining went.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. And I don't know, I love Jack Nicholson, I know you do.
Yes, I do.
But it would be a very different movie, I think.
If it was him?
Yes.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it would have been better.
I don't think
I don't think it would have been worse or much worse at the very least, but I don't think it would have been much better either.
I don't think it would have been the same. I think he did a really good job.
He really did.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson can stick to his crazy ass characters.
And then out of the top 100 movie heroes and villains, Annie is the 17th most iconic villain ever in movie history.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And for the final fear fact, Annie was actually intended to represent King's crazy fans.
That's funny.
So the writer in the movie, Paul, is actually symbolizing Stephen King.
That's interesting.
And his substance abuse and everything, and writing and all, and his seclusion and stuff. And then Annie actually represents all the crazy psycho fans that he's endured over the years.
Damn.
Right?
That's kind of crazy.
So we actually are doing... You want to tell them the next movie, actually, sis?
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods. And, so that'll be our next week's movie and our first movie of March.
March!
And my kid might be here by then or might not. We'll find out. So go ahead and read the next question. He gonna be a papa, I'm gonna be E.T.
What movie contains a scene in which a father chases his son around a hedge maze with an axe? Come on! If you guys don't fucking get this...
You're crazy.
You're done.
You're done. So yes, our next movie is a fan recommendation of Cabin in the Woods. And I've seen like the first half of it. I haven't seen the full movie, but I kind of enjoyed it.
I watched it a long time ago. I don't remember it.
Okay. So this is kind of a first for both of us, so.
Yeah, you guys need to watch Misery though. I had to fucking buy it on Prime.
I bought it on Vudu a long, long time ago. So I've had it for a while.
Yeah, I couldn't find anywhere where you can like stream it for free. I tried, but
I'm sure if you haven't seen the movie at this point, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with it?
This movie's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, check out this movie on wherever you can get it. It was a good one. And
that concludes my birthday month.
Yep. So we will catch you next week, maybe with new news or not news. We'll see. But we'll catch you next week with Cabin in the Woods.
Catch you later.